move on to Detroit's depth chart.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Another interesting lineup here with Detroit. Cade starting five.
Okay, that will be up for debate. So you go first.
Cade. I go Cade. Sadiq is a
Cade.
sure, starter. Um, yeah, Bagley, I think, could start. And I say Stewart. I'm not sure who starts at shooting guard though. But I think Burke starts.
You think Burke starts over Ivy?
Yeah, I think Burke starts at least early in
Okay,
this
and
at
then
the start of the season. So it's Cade, Burks, Sadiq, Bagley, and Stewart.
okay, so Ivy
You
goes.
think Ivy starts?
I think Ivy starts. I don't know. I just, of course, we don't know anything can happen here. So could be Burks, but I think Cade and Ivy they'll try to play them together right away with Bay Sadiq, and then Isaiah Stewart. We're agreeing with that. The
Yeah.
Marvin Bagley thing, yeah, 80% chance he starts, but there's a lot of possibilities there. They could start Isaiah Livers. He played well last year. Kelly Olynyk. So there's players there that could start. So I'm just saying 70 to 80% they'll start Bagley, not because he's good or better than those players, but because
Now this is
uh,
good.
you know maybe because they gave him a contract, so they want to
Yeah, yeah. I
to
think that's
play.
my reason as well. I mean, they started him last year. I think he continues to start this year. I mean, I don't see Dwayne Casey as someone, right? It's still Dwayne Casey, right? The coach.
Yeah,
I don't
doing
see
Casey,
him
but
making major changes.
Isaiah Livers is someone to watch out though at that position. Maybe not right off the bat, but maybe sometime in the season, not maybe not even long into the season because Bagley will suck. I know that Olenek can be traded. So Livers is someone that I project will start sometime in the season. He will be the starting power forward of this team sometime next season, I
Yeah.
think.
Uh, any in well, the,
I think
the intriguing guys here. Well, let's start off maybe with Cade, right?
yeah, there.
Cade, how do you see the development of Cade going to be? Second year sophomore. He didn't start the season last year because of injury. That I think might have uh, you know, contributed in him not winning the Rookie of the Year. But how do you see him this year?
I'll be honest. At first, I wasn't looking at him as someone that someone really I'm excited about. But eventually, I look at the lineup. I look at the stats last year, the post All Star game, last 20-30 games stats, and they're really good. And
They're
then
good, but you're right. He's not an exciting player to pick, though.
yes,
I
but
mean, if you compare it to the batch of rookies that he was with, he's not. He's probably the least exciting player there.
yes, but you know what's funny? He's gonna be the first guy picked still in this year's draft, fantasy wise, among the sophomores, and rightfully so. Now that
Really?
I've thought, yes, he will. He will be the first guy picked
Over Mobley?
over Mobley. He's going as early as 20 some late 20s. Cade Cunningham. I've seen he's ranked currently 32nd, so he's the highest ranked. Yes, the highest ranked sophomore is ranked 32nd, and this ranking was before the Donovan Garland trade. So that's one more thing I was gonna mention because the trades that happened hurt some of the guards ahead of him. So I think that really improves
Yeah.
his ranking even more because if you're gonna think about it right now, would you pick him or would you pick Donovan? Would you pick him or would you pick Garland? I think you go with him right now. Even SG, although I know SGA is better than him, they have almost the same kind of stat set if you look at it from last season to this season.
Every one of those guys are probably better than him. It's just that the situation they're in is not as good as Cade's situation.
But SGA's stats last year were very similar to what K did. Very similar to what K did. So I think this year would you be surprised if he goes 25-5? That's easy for him. 25-5 and 1 point something steals. That's what SGA does, and I don't think he's gonna be rested like SGA. So that's why I think he might go ahead of SGA in some drafts, but they will be neck and neck in most drafts.
Yeah, very interesting. Really, this year's fantasy drafts. Lots of players moving up. Lots of players, the old reliables before starting to move down. New faces trying to move up. Right? We have
No, I
Lamelo. We
I
have
I assume
Tyrese.
that you're not that high on Cade.
Not that high, but I could see him there in the second round, maybe a late second round pick. The way you said it, if I think about it, the players there and with the lots of uncertainties there, yeah, he could. Plus the
He could.
situation he's
He could.
in,
Yeah.
the situation he's in, there's really no competition for minutes. Even if Detroit is probably tanking, they're still playing their young players, right? It's not like this Detroit team is not like the OKC tanking wherein they really need to tank because of those
Yes.
draft picks.
Yes.
Detroit, I
Agree.
don't think has that many or crucial draft picks to begin with. So
I
um,
guess my question to you is simple: is would you pick him over Donovan, Garland, SGA, or Bradley Beal? Because those are the players. Chris Paul. Those
I'll
are the five
probably
players that you will choose at that range. Bradley is going 33rd. That's his
really.
ranking. Yeah,
I
Bradley is
won't pick him
33rd.
over Bradley Beal.
Okay.
Uh, Chris
So,
Paul, man, Chris Paul.
Chris Paul, Garland, Mitchell, SGA, how about these guys? Because
I
if
might.
you're gonna pick, if you're gonna rank him around second or third in that group, then that automatically puts him in the top 30, right? I mean,
Yeah, maybe
that's just how it
I
is.
can see picking him over Shea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I can pick him over Donovan though.
Okay.
Garland's gonna be close. Um, I can see picking him over Chris Paul just because Chris Paul's older, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Paul still could, do whatever he has done for the past couple of years. Uh, but yeah, I can see. I think except one player, maybe Donovan is the only guy I might pick for. Two, Bradley Beal is the other
Yeah.
guy. Um,
Actually, for me, I have him ahead of those guys. Just for this year. Just if Donovan was in the same situation as before, maybe I pick Donovan. But given the situations, it's close. But I have him a little higher than them. So we have a difference in value of Cade a little bit.
yeah, but I think what many managers would be torn about Cade is that the name value of these guys, right? Bradley
Yeah.
Beal, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. I mean, Darius Garland last year was great, right? Uh, and to move him down below Cade, uh, it's going to be hard for some managers to really imagine. Um, yeah, so Cade's gonna be a tough one. Late, commission has him at late first round, late second round, maybe as early as late second round. Um,
14-team league. I'm not saying 12-team
yeah,
league. I'm
yeah.
not saying I'm picking him in a
Most of
24.
most of what we're talking about is mostly on a 14 team league. Just because all of our leagues are 14 teams. Other guys, Isaiah Stewart, a disappointment last year. Is he going to be that guy many expect? I mean, he doesn't have competition, right? So, I mean,
He
position wise,
has
maybe yeah, who? Olinik,
Duren.
Joel, Duren.
Jalen Duren actually that's what's making me think twice because Detroit loves Duren. I mean, boy, the coach loves him, the GM loves him. He was a top. They were all shocked beyond belief that he was there at number 13 because the story there was they were deciding between him or Jaden Ivey at number 5. They were deciding between the two, and then they were shocked that both were available because Ivy was projected to be number 3, I think, or something, or 4. and then Sacramento went with Keegan Murray. So Ivy felt 5, but at that point they were sure that Ivy was not going to be available, so they were going to pick Duren, and they were shocked that he was available 13. I'm not saying that Duren will be starting over him, but you gotta. There's another player they're developing now in Duren, so I'm not sure that Stewart will get minutes handed to him like the past, right? Although actually even the past he was not given the minutes because he kind of sucked. So I don't know. I don't know about this year and his minutes.
Yeah, but for sure Stewart will start. Um, maybe there's competition, but it's so hard to pick a player like Duren, over Stewart just because he's a rookie. And we
Yeah,
haven't really seen much, right? And he's not really a household rookie name, right? Not every manager knows about him as much. So, risk averse managers would probably want to see more of him first before picking him. Um, so I think Stewart stays there, but it's just that I'm not even sure if he's gonna be good this
they
year.
they want him to shoot more from the outside, and that is also because of Duren. If you saw the summer league, they were asking him to shoot threes.
Yeah,
That's what they plan to do with him because they want to play him with Duren at the same time. So if the percentages of Stewart is good from the 3-point range, then that helps him. That helps his value somewhat. But if he doesn't shoot well, then I don't know. I'm sorry, but I've seen Duran play, and I know his upside, and he will be their center of the future. So Stewart will better make those 3-pointers if he wants to stay fantasy relevant for
so you're
us.
staying away from Stewart.
At
And
this
we'd
point,
rather take a chance on Duren and at the very late rounds.
I've seen managers who have shown me their teams, have Duren as their last pick, and I was shocked actually that they did that. At first, I was thinking about Duren as one of the last picks, but looking at the depth chart, I agree with you that they won't give it to him right away. There's Nerlens Noel there, there's Kelly Olynyk, and remember, this is Dwayne Casey. This is
Yeah.
Dwayne Casey, so this is not someone
This
who.
is Dwayne Casey who from time to time would start Corey Joseph.
Yes, that is the reason why when
That's the reason
every
why I picked
manager
Alec Burks.
yeah, possible. Yeah, that's possible. Although Ivy is a higher pick, so a high pick. Like maybe he will be forced to play Ivy because that's their centerpiece addition this
Yeah.
year. Duren is not as high a pick, so that's why I'm not too sure. I just tell people if you picked him, just be patient. You have to be very, very patient, and you have to know that you can afford zeros for quite some time. Remember Isaiah Jackson, something like that.
Yeah.
A while ago we compared Jamal's fantasy to Pascal Siakam. This year I will see Jalen Duren as Isaiah Jackson. If he gets minutes, he's gonna perform fantasy wise because of his skill set. But when will that happen?
One
So
thing.
no, I will not pick Duren in the late rounds unless all of a sudden Detroit says that he's gonna start.
Yeah.
So then we'll change it.
One thing's for sure about Isaiah Stewart, he's probably not gonna go as high as he did last year.
Yes.
Probably he's gonna go at the 80s, maybe the 90s. Right? I mean, I don't see him. Last year he went what 50s, 60s. I think that's where he's part of that. Mid round surge of centers that were picked.
He's at 111. He's at 111 this year.
See, even better. I think 111 is a good pick
Just about right.
Yeah,
just about right.
I mean, that's not a high risk pick. I mean, if you pick him 111 and he doesn't perform, it's easier to drop him eventually, right?
Yeah.
It's not gonna be as hard. Other players who you think might surprise this year here in Detroit?
Isaiah
Ivy?
Livers, I mentioned him a while ago, and then maybe Sadiq Bey. Sadiq was so good last year. I mean, the second half of the year, right? It
Yeah.
was unbelievable. And Jeremy's gone. Jeremy's Grant is gone. So I think Sadiq is a little underrated. A little underrated because of Cade, Ivy, and all these players. Sadiq is just those boring guy. He he has potential to be those boring players that just scores a lot of threes and then solid 3-point shooter. But he's a streaky guy, so be careful about that.
Yeah.
About Sadiq.
So yeah, you mean watch out for Sadiq.
Lastly, Ivy. I'm staying away from Ivy. If you remember how Jalen Green started, how Jalen Suggs started, it has the same thing written all over. The efficiency, the the fantasy problems. You can't shoot, doesn't steal the ball as much, and everything. So
So if you really look at Detroit's depth chart, it's really pretty much just Cade, Sadiq, Stewart, and maybe a little Bagley. You can take a late round flyer on maybe Jalen Duren, or maybe fans of Kelly Olynyk can still try to pick him. But
no,
the I think the short, at least early on, players with at least better fantasy value: Cade, Sadiq, Bagley, and Stewart.